Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Dana Thomas, your host for the Point Quest webinar series. I'm delighted to welcome you to today's webinar. But before we dive in, I'd like to introduce two important people who help make these sessions possible. First, meet Ricardo, right here, Ricardo Panate, our technical wizard behind the scenes. Ricardo will be ensuring everything runs smoothly today, and after, he will follow up with information about CEU credits after the session. So if you experience any technical difficulties, Ricardo is your go-to person in the chat. So now I am thrilled to introduce today's featured speaker, Julie West. Julie is the author of Think in the Positive Circle, Creating Opportunities for Growth and Reflection. Julie comes to us with a rich background as a published author, literacy coach, and administrator whose experience aligns perfectly with Point Quest's mission of delivering compassionate, individualized support to students with exceptional needs. So without further delay, let's welcome Julie to share her insights with us. And Julie, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Dana. I'm so excited to be here today. The very first thing I want to do is just take a moment to set the tone for our time together. Our goal is to create a space where everyone feels safe and seen and respected today. We recognize that each of us bring unique experiences, perspectives, and identities, making our conversation rich and meaningful. As we engage today, we ask that you be mindful, open, and compassionate toward others and yourself, especially. So our goal, we just went over, thank you, Ricardo. We'll go up to the next one there. The next slide there. Uh-oh. All right, well, we'll jump in. This time of year is the year when we feel like we're hanging on by a thread. I like to say the clocks are striking 13. I want to share a story about the 13th hour, a moment that changed my mindset and holds a powerful lesson for me. So, my story begins at the airport. I got there about 4 a.m. to catch my flight. We were delayed twice. We were at our boarding gate, and our boarding gate changed. The terminal was packed with people that were complaining. The Wi-Fi wasn't working, and I felt tired, messy, and done. A woman was yelling at the gate agent, and a kid was screaming on his tablet. It was one of those moments you feel like the universe is just short-circuiting. Everything felt off, and all clocks were striking 13 for me. And then, right as I sat down to wait for updates, wondering if my flight would be canceled, I just wanted to go home as bad as everyone else did, and I was frustrated. But in that moment, I looked across the way and I saw this gentleman, and he was sitting in a seat, sipping tea, reading a book, and he was very, very calm and very peaceful. And so I had to go up and ask him the question of, how can you be so in control right now when all of this is happening around you? And he told me, he said, I can't control what is out here in the airport, but I can control what is in my head. And those words really resonated with me. At that moment, I stopped, bought myself some lunch, pulled out a new book that I had really wanted to read. And funny, I didn't have time normally to read it. Sat down and enjoyed my afternoon. My flight was still delayed, but I was able to really put things in perspective. And really, it was one of the most relaxing afternoons that I'd had in a while. And I learned that day I could change how I carry situations, and that my mindset matters most in these moments. That peace is not found in a perfect situation. It's the manner in which you choose to deal with it. So today, just for a few moments, I would love in the chat if you could drop 2 words that describe why you showed up today. No pressure, just what's on your heart or mind. My 2 words would be purpose and impact. I'm anxious to see what your words might be. Oh, I see one. Keep momentum. Learning and mission. I love that one. Keep going. Self-care, personal growth, interested in opportunity, joy and dedication. I love this. Awesome. I can tell already that you're passionate today. All right. Now I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about some research. John Hattie is widely known for his research in education, especially through his meta-analysis. It identifies what truly impacts student learning. His core philosophy is centered around evidence-based teaching, that is, focusing on what actually works in classrooms based on research, not just tradition or theory. John Hattie's research highlights self-efficacy as one of the most powerful influences on student achievement, showing that when individuals believe in their ability to succeed, their learning and performance dramatically improve. Efficacy has perspective. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that before, but effective teachers set ambitious goals, high expectations, and they're resilient in the face of setbacks. But there's 2 different viewpoints when it comes to self-efficacy. There's one where we foster positivity, and we can describe it as optimistic, confident, and really open to learning. But unfortunately, when we do not have self-efficacy, we can describe it as diminishing, doubtful, isolated, and just plain uncertain. You may doubt your ability to succeed. You may avoid challenges or give up easily and feel less motivated to try new things and improve. Change and improvement matter for self-efficacy because they show you can grow and overcome challenges, boosting your confidence and motivation to keep trying. Your challenge is to believe fiercely in your ability to make a difference, because your confidence and your choices and your persistence shape the future more than you know. So as we carry on today, I really want you to hold that dear to you and know that because you have the ability to make a difference, we're going to support you today in finding out ways for you to take care of yourself. As we begin to understand positive thinking, I really want you to know that it's not a one-time choice, but a daily practice, intentionally shaping your mindset one thought at a time. And I have another great story for you. It started one morning. I got out of bed and it seemed that everything started to go wrong from the minute I hit the floor. It started to rain before I got out the door. I didn't have my umbrella. It was in the car. I woke up just a bit late. So with the rain, I was running even further behind. I spilled coffee on my shirt on the way to my car. There was a traffic jam, and I walked into this meeting 15 minutes late, flustered and embarrassed. I kept thinking I should have stayed in bed. The rest of the morning just started to snowball into a lot of stress. Emails were piling up, and I was not my perky self. At lunch, while I was scrolling through my phone, I saw a quote, and it said, "Your thoughts create your experience, change the story, and you change your outcome." Well, All morning, I had said, this is a terrible day. I should just have stayed in bed. But I tried to turn it around and something clicked. And I said, what if I stop labeling today as a bad day? What if I say it's salvageable and I can turn it around? Shift how you see yourself and your abilities. So I told my coworkers I was sorry for not being as perky as normal. And I did get some pep back in my step, and the day ended much better. And my takeaway was even on this morning when everything went wrong, when I shifted to positive self talk, I turned my day around. Learning to stay grounded through positivity means we must practice our self talk daily. We must become less critical of ourselves and the world that we live in. And we must examine our cultural bias and make it a challenge for ourselves. Every day, we know that challenges occur and we discover pitfalls that can trip us up if we're not mindful. We're going to take a closer look at how to recognize and navigate them. Your first instinct at a pitfall is usually to avoid it or feel worried because it feels like a threat or failure. But facing it with confidence can help you learn and grow. Some of the things that we need to take into consideration is pausing before we react. Ask ourselves if this is a permanent situation. Reframe the story, seeing challenges as opportunities to grow and setbacks as stepping stones towards greater impact. And we need to return to gratitude, giving ourselves permission to try again. Here we have a snapshot of common pitfalls that show us how we can be derailed in our progress. Some might be very familiar to you, others, like these, might surprise you. Maybe poor work-life boundaries, taking work home constantly, can strain relationships and personal time. Lack of collaboration, really isolating ourselves instead of working with peers, and missing opportunities for shared learning and support. Underestimating impact, forgetting the power of our daily interactions can lead to disengagement and missed opportunities to inspire. And also inconsistent expectations, being possibly unclear or unpredictable, can confuse students and it can erode classroom trust. Our key is awareness. By recognizing these traps, we give ourselves the permission to pause, adjust, and choose a better path. So let's take a moment to identify which of these resonate most with you, the ones that are listed or some of the ones that I talked about. And tell me, how did you overcome them in the chat in just a few words? What was one pitfall you've experienced in the last few weeks? And then in 2 words, how did you overcome it? See if we'll get a few in the chat there. Oh, I love it. Endless data. It is that time of year, isn't it? Lack of resource time, a break to reset and reflect and rethink. Absolutely. We're just tired. High stakes assessments. Yes, looked at it one student at a time instead of the whole group. Yeah. Surprise meetings of students and the parents. Yes, absolutely. More high stakes assessment. Look at these as challenges to get the most data. Yep. Meeting high expectations, take a breath, says a prayer, list things I'm thankful for. I love that. Yes, I'm in Texas and we have the high stake testing as well, and it's very, very stressful. Totally agree with you guys. All right. Let's take a minute now, and I really want you to think about this, a heavy situation. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to consider your current heavy situation in life. Could be a breakup, death of a loved one, maybe you're nervous about an upcoming event. What is your heaviest situation that you're carrying today? What difficult thoughts and feelings and bodily sensations have shown up regarding this situation? Your body may feel tense, anxious, stressed from the situation. Okay, open your eyes. And I want you to know, as we journey today, keep this situation in the forefront of your mind because we will want you to revisit it later. And we're here now to explore what do we do with these moments and how can we rise above them and not have this kind of anxious feeling, this stress, the way we feel tense. So I'm going to begin to give you some tips on how to handle it. In heavy situations, our minds can become flooded with complex thoughts and emotions, pulling us into patterns of behavior that lead us away from who we truly are and who we aspire to be. Let's shift our focus how to intentionally reflect how can we get and fuel ourselves with positive growth and help us move forward with purpose. We must become aware of the overwhelming thoughts and feelings, choosing to pause and intentionally redirect actions toward our core values and our true goals, moving from a reactive pattern to a purposeful towards behavior. Now you've reached decision point time. It's a moment where the choices you make can either keep you stuck or move you closer to your goals and your values. Decision point is a moment when you have to make an important choice that can affect what happens next with your actions. It's a key moment where you choose between different options. The decision you make can change the outcome or direction of a situation that you're in. It often requires careful thinking because the choice you make matters, and the decision points can happen in everyday life or in big, important moments. I'm going to give you some decision point scenarios now. You spilled your coffee. Our first default reaction would be, great, this day's ruined. Instead of, how about, okay, it's just a shirt. I will handle this and the day will still be good. Stuck in traffic. Our default reaction, I hate this. Why does this always happen to me? Instead, try, I can't control traffic, but I can use this time to breathe, reflect, or listen to a podcast that I like. I make a mistake at work. Our default reaction, I am terrible at this. Instead, try, that did not go as planned, but now I know how to do it better. You look in the mirror and you feel critical of yourself. Our default reaction, I look awful today. Instead, we could say, I am more than how I look. I'm showing up, and that matters today. A friend or colleague says something that bothers you. Our default reaction, they are being so rude and I'm done with them. Maybe we could say to ourselves in our self-talk, they're having a tough day. Let me lead with curiosity, not assumption. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Our default, what a jerk. Instead, I do not know what they're going through. I will choose not to carry that frustration with me and own it. You get negative feedback from work. Your default, I am not good enough and I never will be. Instead, try this information on reflection. I can learn from the feedback. It's the way that we frame our mind. Very important. Let's talk about sneaky things that steal our time each day. Those small distractions and habits that quietly hijack our focus before we even notice. Last year, one of my hijackers was my calendar. It seemed as though I would have it scheduled out, not necessarily for the week, but I'd have it scheduled out for my days, and something would always hijack my time. Someone would interrupt something that I had planned at the end of the day, or something would happen. So I decided that I was not going to let this be hijacked with tasks anymore, that I was going to, at every end of the day, I was going to recheck my calendar and make sure that I was set and that nothing could be interrupted. And it really has saved me a lot of headache this year, sticking to my calendar ritual of every day going in there at 3:30 and checking my calendar to make sure that I'm good. This can lead to feeling overwhelmed when we have these hijackers. We get stressed and we lose control over time. We prioritize our task, and setting clear limits helps us. Going back to what someone said in the chat, an unexpected parent meeting that can throw your whole day off because maybe you had something going during your prep time. Do you want to become more organized, become more mindful, more productive, energized, and creative? Well, I think we all do. Start with your calendar of the month. Find one online or a smaller calendar. Have a page that you do reflections on. You know, you could do it once a week. You could do it every day. It's really nice to look back at our reflections, especially at the end of the year. I have a grateful page in my calendar, and later in this, you're going to find out why being grateful is so important. So I highly suggest a grateful page and a page for goals for the month. I try to set at least a few personal or professional goals each month, and that really seems to help me. Now I want you to take a look at perspective while you watch this video.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me, and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there...
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing...
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
No, see, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See, you're
out.
not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just... Sometimes it's like there's this achy... I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
Yeah, that sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you. Ow!
Come on. If you would just...
Don't...
Try to see things my way. Do I have to keep...
I love that because it really puts it into perspective of how we control things. One of the funny jokes that I had is, why did the pessimist bring a ladder to the tough situation? Because he thought things were going downhill. But the optimist said, perfect, now we can climb out. So it's the way that you look at things always. I know that many of you were able to look at the burnout survey that I sent out prior to the webinar. Very important that you look at that and you really analyze it, because our burnout is very real. It's not just something to take at a whim and think, oh, I can get over this easily, because it's not just feeling tired, it's a deep exhaustion that can quietly steal our passion. We have to protect ourselves and our well-being. Educators can manage burnout, but we need help. We have to take breaks, we have to ask for support, and we have to practice self-care. And so today I'm going to show you some things that I hope will help you with your self-care. Let's take a moment to look at some self-care rituals, those intentional practices that recharge our mind, body, and spirit. Self-care builds emotional resilience, and daily stress, we know, is inevitable. It's how you respond. How are you taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, and mentally? Really taking note of this. Research shows that consistent self-care is not selfish, it's essential. Improving your mental clarity, emotional resilience, and overall well-being so we can show up fully in every part of our life. Many people feel guilty about taking time for themselves, especially in our caretaking roles that we are in. But here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup, especially if it's a teacher's coffee cup. That thing fuels our whole classroom, right? So, what is one self-care practice that helps you stay steady when life gets overwhelming? I want you to take a moment in the chat and tell me maybe something that you're doing right now that we could take away. Mine this year was some mindful breathing. I do yoga and hot yoga, and it's really good for the mindful breathing. And so I've tried that at school as well. Walking or working out, watercolor. Oh, I love that. Running, cooking, gym, and taking the dog out. Oh, I have a dog. That is so true. They're such self-soothers, aren't they? They just help you. Oh, hammock time. I love hammocks. The park or the river. Oh, mani-pedi. Absolutely. Splurging. Walking, eating more, paddleboarding. Look at you guys. You guys are really good. You have a lot of good outlets already. Love it. So sorry. I'm a little under the weather today. So let's talk about a self-care that oftentimes educators struggle with, and that's sleep. Sleep is so important. Research has so many things about it out there, that sleep improves memory and learning by helping the brain process information. So we need our rest. Lack of sleep weakens the immune system and making you more likely to get sick. Good sleep boosts your mood, it reduces stress, and it helps mental health. So one of the suggestions I have and challenges, I know that we're on our phones and our electronics a lot, but at least 30 minutes prior to bed, we need to disconnect from our devices and we need to just relax and prepare for our sleep, because that is overstimulating us and we're not getting the rest that we need. So that's one challenge I have for you. The next portion of self-care is nutrition. In the whirlwind of education, nutrition gets overlooked. but it's one of the simplest ways educators can boost their well-being and effectiveness. Starting with water. Water is vital in our day. And this is my second challenge for you, is starting your day drinking lemon water in the morning. The very first thing you do is reach for some lemon water to hydrate yourself. It speeds up your metabolism and it definitely boosts your mood. Do it before coffee. I'm a coffee gal, but do it before your coffee. And then I know that it is a struggle with educators to have a break to go to the bathroom, but try to sip on water during small breaks, maybe while your students are working independently or during transitions. Staying hydrated without needing to step away, I know it's difficult, but schedule your water breaks. Maybe write them down, journal them. Stay away from the sugar and energy drinks. Sugar might give us that quick burst of energy, but for our educators, it often leads to crashes that just zap our focus. It increases our fatigue and makes managing stress much harder throughout the day, even though it's that 1 minute of satisfaction. When it comes to our nutrition and our planning, one size does not fit all, and we have to be kind to ourselves. I suggest meal planning. Meal planning is very important because I know personally, if I don't plan on Sunday what my week's going to look like for lunch, then I'm going to either grab something that's unhealthy or possibly even skip lunch altogether. We definitely have to have a plan for meal prepping. Good nutrition is a powerful tool for us. It fuels our energy, sharpens our focus, and it helps us stay resilient long during these demanding days. And I know our days are long. We need to really look at, healthy things that we're eating. Craft your menu to nourish your unique body and your lifestyle, and personalize your choices, and it'll lead to a healthy, energized person instead of one that's so fatigued. It's hard, so be gentle with yourself. The next area of focus is laughter. I really want us to bring laughter back to education. It's so tough right now in our world. Laughter isn't just the best medicine. It's a powerful way to reduce stress. It boosts our connection and it brings energy into even the busiest, hardest days. It reduces cortisol, it boosts our endorphins, and it improves our immune function. It focuses us, it makes learning stick with our students, and it really does increase student engagement. Their retention improves, and this is not all fluff, it's neuroscience. When people feel safe, they laugh more. Then they take risks, they ask questions, and they bounce back from mistakes quicker. So that's another challenge. How will you build laughter into your day? Now that we've recognized the challenges, let's explore some practical stress management tips to help us stay calm and focused. We could pause, and it interrupts stress reactions to prevent us from being overwhelmed. We reflect, that helps us identify stressors and develop awareness. And we recharge, we restore our energy, and we promote our resilience. So just remember those 3 words: pause, reflect, and recharge. And do it periodically throughout the day, and then you'll get in a routine of it. Then we come to educators and our relationships. So we're going to explore just a moment what a healthy relationship looks like by first understanding ourselves better. We have to have trust, respect, and communication for ourselves. Communication, we need to practice active listening and express ourselves honestly and respectfully. We must build and maintain trust through consistency and reliability. Always have respect, value each other's feelings, boundaries, and opinions. Support, offer encouragement, and help during the good and the bad times of others. Have healthy boundaries, know your limits, and respect someone else's limits. Work on conflict resolution, handle your disagreements calmly, and have quality time. Spend meaningful time together to strengthen your bond. And self-awareness, understand your own needs and emotions, and regulate better. So sorry. When we're talking about our own emotions, sometimes it's with that cell phone. Put it down, look at the other person in the eye, and have that conversation. Now we're going to explore the power of the story, how the narrative will tell, shape our identity, influence others, and inspire change. There is a researcher out there, Jenny Donahue, who is amazing. She has the power of the story research, and it really talks about how you or someone you look at, and maybe you don't have the correct story. You look at them and you prejudge them, and you think of a story in your head, and it's not accurate. What effect do you have on your relationship with the other person when you do that? Does it empower or does it limit? Does it encourage others to share their stories? We have to be better at no snap judgments. Stories shape our reality. I remember thinking when I first moved to this one school, there was a teacher that sat by herself, and I thought, wow, she's not very social. Come to find out, she was just very shy. She was new to the school, and she was outgoing the next week. But that was my prejudgment. Have any of you ever had a false narrative like that, where you judged someone, or maybe you even judged yourself in that way? I'm seeing some yeses in there. In this area, we have to be so self-conscious about how we're looking at other people and what we're doing. Listening moves us closer. It helps us become more whole and more healthy. One of the funny things that I love is a wife tells her husband to get to the new cafe, take the second right after the stop sign. Then go straight until you see a red mailbox. He says, got it, but he zones out. Later, he calls her, I'm at a red mailbox, but it's a post office, and there's no cafe in sight. She replies, that's because I said go straight until the mailbox, not stop at the mailbox. He said, well, I'm still technically at the mailbox. Listening is very important as an educator. It really boosts leadership and effectiveness. Leaders who demonstrate good listening skills are perceived as more competent, and they're trustworthy and emotionally intelligent. It also improves team collaboration. Listening enhances and reduces conflict. It promotes psychological safety in our teams, and we all need to be more collaborative in our work. We also need to dive deeper and start paying attention to how quickly you jump to a solution. And don't forget to give yourself credit when you see yourself doing it. We need a team to support. Focus, collaborate, and solve are my 3 words there. You can spot a solution helper by certain signs. They listen carefully, and they focus on understanding what the real problem is. They stay calm and positive, looking for ways to fix the issue. And they offer practical ideas or support instead of just pointing out what's wrong. I look back at some of our pitfalls with the copier. Sometimes we find an educator and they're in the copy room and they're frustrated and they're not opening up to try to dig in to see what's wrong, not traveling to solution. So just aspire to act in a way that cancels out someone else's cruel or stupid behavior sometimes is the most important part. We need to surround ourselves with these solution helpers. Before we move forward, let's take a quick pulse check to see where everyone stands. Take a look at these and just maybe shoot me a few things in the chat. I know I have some champions at my work and they really support and they give me positive notes and positive words. And it really builds me up, surrounding ourselves with those positive champions. All right, we'll take a look at this. Did you ever feel like this when you're around the negative? I will not engage. I was sitting with friends talking about relationships, and someone asked, "What's your best advice?" I just smiled and said, "I will not engage." Sometimes avoiding drama is the strongest relationship move you can make. I find that often when people are in the middle of drama, that it's oftentimes better just not to engage. Because those people that have that kind of a situation, they're not going to be those solution-oriented people that want to fix it. I love that. Use the negative to my advantage. Turn it into something positive. What I can learn from this. Exactly. Let's turn our attention to culture and understand that culture is the fabric that shapes how we see the world and relate to one another. My 3 words here are connection, consistency, and respect. Our culture shapes how we communicate and understand each other, how we influence our values and beliefs, and how we respect different cultures and build strong and more inclusive communities. We need connection, build that meaningful relationship with students, colleagues, and families. We need that consistency to maintain clear expectations and follow through. And we need respect, create an inclusive environment where every voice is valued and dignity is upheld. Very important to remember that as you travel through your journey. Connection, consistency, and respect. Our culture leads us to one of the most important aspects, building and nurturing meaningful relationships. We have to listen, empathize, and support. Get to know each other. Spend time learning about the other person's interests, values, and experiences to build understanding and trust. Communicate openly. Share your thoughts and feelings honestly while listening, and create that strong connection. And we can do that through our positive talk. I love Brene Brown. She always teaches us so much. She says true compassion means showing up with empathy and courage, and that it includes setting healthy boundaries to protect our own hearts. It is okay to set those healthy boundaries. You need to say no. You need to not stay at work until late hours at night. Set those healthy boundaries. Now we're going to take a look at gratitude. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you. It's recognizing the good around us and appreciating the people, moments, and things that make life meaningful. When we practice gratitude, we open ourselves up to joy, connection, and a deep sense of peace. My 3 words here: appreciation, awareness, and thankfulness. Dr. Robert Emmons, I have studied him in depth, and he is a leading researcher on gratitude. And one of his well-known contributions is using surveys to measure how gratitude affects well-being. His survey typically asks people to reflect on things they can feel, how thankful they are, and how often they express gratitude in their daily life. Research using these surveys shows that practicing gratitude regularly can improve mental health, increase your happiness, and strengthen your relationships. Ways to describe it is acknowledgement, grace, praise, recognition, response, and thankfulness. Gratitude boosts your happiness. People who practice gratitude report higher levels of positive emotions. It improves your mental health. It strengthens your relationships, and it enhances your resilience. It gives you those coping skills that you need to be successful. Building strong relationships, it improves your mood, reduces stress, and increases collaboration. All the things that we need as educators. Now that we've explored the different dimensions of gratitude, understanding it, feeling it, and holding positive attitudes towards it, and acting on it, let's take some time to practice and reflect. Gratitude isn't just a concept. It's something we cultivate through our thoughts, feelings, and actions. So think about what gratitude means right now to you. How can you show thanks in your daily life? This moment is yours to pause, reflect, and embrace gratitude in a way that feels authentic. And I'm hoping today that you'll walk away and you'll be able to show gratitude just a little bit deeper. Let me just take a look at that slide for just a moment. That will give you some ideas when you walk away today. All right. This is your moment to pause and realign. Growth doesn't always mean doing more. It often means doing better. So let's think intentionally now. What's something new you're ready to add to your routines? What deserves more of your time and energy? What needs a shift? And just as importantly, what's no longer serving you that you can let go of today? Change does not require an overhaul, just one thoughtful adjustment at a time. So thinking about it right now, what is one thing that tomorrow that you can do a little bit differently or that you can put into your self-care routine? We're going to drop those in the chat. Breathe, then think, then speak. I love it. Take a walk at lunch. Excellent. Love it. Drinking water and taking breaks. Yes. Make more time for yourself, outdoors, and green spaces. Absolutely. Grounding. Grounding's wonderful. Take a moment for self-reflection or journaling. Meal plan. Drink water. Nice. You'll see a big change. Be more mindful, spend more time outside. Yeah, fresh air is amazing, isn't it? Journaling, trying that lemon water. I love it. Excellent. All right. I want you to know that you are the most important thing. You need to take care of yourself. As you go through this journey, I want you to reflect. When you come to a pitfall, a good rule of thumb is to reflect early and often, ideally after key moments, decisions, or challenges. So small, missteps don't turn into major setbacks. For example, a quick weekly reflection or a brief check-in after a tough situation. My 3 words here are understand, apply, and grow. Understand, what did I learn or see in a new way? Apply, how can I use this knowledge or insight in my role? Grow, what will I do differently to improve or evolve? Mine last year was I'm going to quit caring about being perfect so I can focus on being present and in the moment. Start the day slow, watch the sunrise, get a few things done before everyone else is awake. I hope that you can set an intention today and walk away with one. Think of next year as a fresh chapter, new students, new stories, and new chances to make learning unforgettable. My 3 words here would be curious, inspired, and enthusiastic. And most of all, I hope that you are surrounding yourselves with a positive circle, one that we can create space for growth, support, and unstoppable energy, because above all, educators are the most important thing in the world. And I hope you're ready. You get set and you go into that positive circle. I would love to show you now. This is my book that I wrote. It's called Teach in the Positive Circle. It has a lot more tips in there on the points that we talked about today, and I would love to connect with you. This is my contact information. Again, I'm here in Texas, and I would love to hear from others in different states and what's going on in your lives, because I know that you are very busy and you have great things happening too. And Ricardo's putting that contact into the chat right now so that you can see it. And I know that Dana is going to come back on and tell you how you're going to receive your credit for this webinar today. But I want to thank you for your attention and how wonderful you were in the chat and being so gracious with me while I had a coughing fit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Julie. I can tell you from all of us that we learned very much about self-care, and I already have, and gratitude, and I already have some little post-it notes of your keywords up around my computer so that
Yay.
they can be that I can remember them every day.
I
So
love
thank you for that. And all of you who came today, also thank you for joining us. It's always wonderful to see your names and your faces. And Ricardo, you're up.